Something really bad happened the other day, and it really made me think, are dog mothers like real mothers? And the answer, I think, is yes. And what happened was that Ivy was hit by a car, my dog Ivy, and it's still very hard to talk about, to be honest, but it happened in a nanosecond. And I think there's a lot of things that I learned from this experience that I wanted to share with you today. The first thing is definitely that dog mothers are like real mothers because what I felt, the love, the extreme desperation I felt when that happened and when I thought she wasn't going to make it, uh, it was definitely something that yeah, it just made me feel like a mother, honestly. And then the joy I felt when she actually came back home with me. And in the worst things that could happen, actually, the best thing happened. If you want to know the details, I'm just going to tell you the details in the next minute or so. If not, just skip this little part. But basically, what happened to her specifically is that her diaphragm was completely fractured and a hernia happened, which is just a laceration happened, and all of her organs moved into her chest. And of course, she needed surgery to re-put everything where it belongs. And another thing that happened was that she fractured her hip bone, her pelvis. So they had to do a surgical fixing of that. They had to put a plate in, and so she needed two surgeries. And what happened was that they basically left her under methadone and fentanyl and like the worst possible things, just, or the best, I guess, to make her not feel pain for like the first 4 days. Like this happened on Saturday evening. And the first surgery actually was done on Wednesday, which means in this like days, like they were just hoping that she would survive and that she would be fit enough to go into surgery because basically her lungs were full of air, sorry, of course, they were full of liquid and they were also bruised, and they were, because they were gonna use a ventilator during the surgery on Wednesday, they were hoping that she would survive and be well enough to, survive the surgery. So anyways, it was a really hard time. Let me tell you, it was a really, really hard time. I thought I wouldn't survive. Honestly, I thought I was gonna kill myself because if she were not going to live. I was like, this is my fault. I should have, she should have been leashed. I should have been more careful. Even if it was a small street where there's not a lot of cars and like it crosses a park, not a little park, a big park, a park that we used to go to every day. I, yeah, it still was my fault. But I'm going to tell you today all the things I learned from this experience because I think yeah, it's a very good experience. The first thing is that I didn't have insurance. You're like, what, Bea? Like, you are a dog trainer. You should know better. You're a professional. You should know better. 100%. And for so many months, I thought about getting an insurance, but then I couldn't find the right insurance because some insurances are really a scam. Like, they would only cover very few things that I do with Ivy regularly. And I was like, well, as everybody actually, like, thinking very positively, oh, nothing's gonna happen. But well, it did happen, and I spent quite a lot of money. And it's not about that because thankfully I'm in a position where I could pay for that, but it's really about what could have happened way worse. Like, for example, what if other people would have gotten hurt? What if, the car was broken, the car that hit her was like something happened, it would still be my responsibility to pay for anyone else involved in the accident. And that would have been the worst thing possible because, of course, there you can end up in criminal court. Like, it could be a crime if anybody gets hurt and you cannot pay or stuff like that. So just to make sure, she now has insurance. The second thing is that you need the right vets around you. I am so lucky. I live in Dublin and we ended up at UCD Veterinary Hospital. They are the best people on earth. Both the Pet Emergency Hospital, which is just a hospital that held her for like Saturday and Sunday. They work on Saturday and Sunday. Amazing people. Sorika, if you are watching this, like, this is You were so nice to me, and like all of the people, not all the nurses, all the doctors, everyone that took care of Ivy, they are the nicest people on earth. And actually, what I did was when I got to get like when it was finally the day for me to bring Ivy home after 10 days of her being in the hospital. I wrote them all a little letter on, little papers, and I gave them to little plants because I thought really like they save lives. There are some jobs out there that are not just jobs, like they mean way more to people. And I think we should acknowledge that. Anyways, I'm just saying, I really wanted to thank them because they were the best. So, anyways, not sponsored at all, of course, by any of these people. I'm just telling you what my experience is and why I think it's so important to have the right pets around you. The third thing that I would say is very important is that accidents happen. I literally wanted to kill myself on Saturday night. You have no idea the desperation, I think. Like, or maybe you do. Unfortunately, I hope you don't because I hope this never happened to you. But it was just the most horrifying thing to think that, it was all my fault. And to an extent, of course, I still think that. And I, take responsibility for everything that happened. But I'm saying I'm getting over it. I'm talking about it in therapy and it's, going better. I think as of course as Ivy recovers as well, as I see that she's doing better, it helps. But I think in general accidents happen, especially with dogs, and I am sure I'm not the only person because unfortunately, as I told this story to many people came back to me and it was so heartwarming actually on social media and in real life. So many people came to me and were like, you have no idea, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. And I was like, oh my God, people go through this every single day and nobody talks about it because we all carry so much shame and so much guilt thinking that it was our fault. It's not. And if it was, you have to get over it. The only way you can move on and like live your life and live a better life with you and your dog, you have to move on. This is a huge lesson. I'm still learning it, but it's just, I think I wanted to put it out there. This is all I wanted to say for this newsletter. If you are watching this and you don't come from the newsletter, you can subscribe to the newsletter. I'm going to leave the link below. I am Bea. I am a dog mother and a certified professional positive reinforcement dog trainer who shares everything she knows on social media and through her newsletter and, through every single possible channel because I really truly believe in sharing free knowledge for everybody. Of course, there are situations where you might need one-on-one training and I'm available for that. I know it's costly, so I know it's not accessible to everyone, and that's why I try to share as much as possible on social media. Anyways, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and here on YouTube. Same handle, Bea the Dog Mom. Hopefully, you'll, find me on other platforms as well. Thank you for being here as always, and assume good intentions. Go out and spread the love because doggies do that all the time.